Monty Hall grew up surrounded by noise, struggle, and determination. His father, Maurice Halpern, had emigrated from Ukraine and ran a small kosher slaughterhouse in the harsh winters of Winnipeg's North End. It wasn't the kind of business that provided comfort. Monty watched his father work endlessly, sometimes butchering animals outside in freezing temperatures just to keep food on the table. Their home was packed with extended family. Grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone scraping by, everyone contributing what they could. From an early age, Monty delivered meat on a bicycle through icy streets, but the cold only strengthened his resilience. His mother, Rose, was a schoolteacher who carried herself with calm authority and a strong sense of community. She organized Hadassah meetings and welcomed neighbors to long Shabbat dinners where conversation and kindness mattered more than the amount of food on the table. She taught Monty that even when you have little, you still find something to give. Those lessons shaped him far more deeply than anyone realized at the time. Everything changed when Monty was 10. His parents took him to a vaudeville show, and he felt something spark inside him. He began imitating performers at home with voices and comic timing that startled his family. His father disapproved. He wanted Monty to take over the slaughterhouse, but Monty couldn't stand the blood, and he was drawn to performing with a force he couldn't ignore. At school, he joined debates, acted in plays, and despite facing anti-Semitic teasing, refused to shrink away. By 12, he was on local radio earning small payments that helped his family buy groceries. Monty attended St. John's High School, where he balanced an interest in zoology with a growing fascination for broadcasting. He built a small radio transmitter, wrote comedy sketches, and performed at community events. At one synagogue program, a wealthy businessman named Max Fried noticed his talent and offered him a full scholarship, a rare opportunity for Jewish students who often face quiet quotas and closed doors. That generosity changed Monty's life. Even with the scholarship, Monty worked long hours at the slaughterhouse after high school, saving money for tuition at the University of Manitoba. He slept on meat hooks at times to avoid rent and saved $150, enough for 2 years of college. He studied science, dreaming of becoming a doctor, but when he applied to medical school in 1943, he was rejected without explanation. Later he learned about the unofficial caps limiting Jewish admissions. His dream collapsed, but he didn't let bitterness take root. He turned back to comedy and radio, discovering he had a gift for entertaining people during the difficult years of the war. By 1944, Monty's father offered him the slaughterhouse, but Monty refused, saying he wanted to make deals with words, not knives. He pushed forward with radio, earning small roles on local stations and gradually building an audience. When he and some co-workers went unpaid for months, he walked off the job, one of the first of many times he refused to be pushed around. In another instance, during a live broadcast when salaries were frozen, he joked to listeners about needing help, and within minutes people were sending in money. That unexpected connection taught him how deeply audiences could care if you were honest with them. He married Marilyn Berger in 1947, a woman who understood his ambitions and helped him shape scripts, stay organized, and believe in himself when setbacks hit. A political comedy sketch in 1949 nearly cost him his job, but by apologizing sincerely on air, he regained both the audience's trust and his footing in broadcasting. In 1950, he took a bold step. He moved to New York with $1,000 saved from Canadian radio. He had no agent or contacts, but he walked the city each day looking for opportunities. Eventually, he landed small television roles, including appearances on Sid Caesar's Show of Shows. When a performer froze during a live monologue, Monty jumped in and saved the moment with sharp improvisation. That quick thinking became his signature. Monty was soon hosting Dr. IQ on NBC, but a slip of the tongue cost him the job and the show soon folded. Instead of retreating, he studied the mechanics of television, learning what made shows work behind the scenes. His ideas contributed to the success of Beat the Clock, where he suggested adding chaotic stunts that boosted ratings dramatically. By the mid-1950s, he was working behind the scenes on children's game shows and designing formats that blended humor with suspense. He met producer Stephen Haydos at a party, and their shared instincts eventually led to the concept that would define Monty's career. Before that success, though, Monty mortgaged his home to create a demo reel featuring improvised deals with strangers on the street. Danny Thomas saw the reel and gave Monty a chance on his sitcom. That risky investment turned out to be the turning point. In 1963, Monty sketched out a new game show idea. 3 doors, hidden prizes, bizarre distractions, and psychological tension. NBC initially dismissed it, but he pushed back until they agreed to a pilot. He personally selected the first contestants from a massive crowd, kept the crew going with sandwiches, and performed with electric spontaneity. Let's Make a Deal aired at the end of that year and became an instant sensation. Monty memorized what lay behind each door using cue cards and relied on subtle cues to guide contestants toward dramatic choices. Years later, his daughter Sharon revealed how meticulously he controlled the process through signals and backstage strategies audiences never knew about. Monty hired his wife as a producer, and her creative ideas shaped many of the show's iconic moments. Executives often wanted the chaos toned down, but Monty leaned into it, famously putting a man in a banana suit on camera after being told to simplify the atmosphere. The show's wildness became part of its charm. Through network moves, lawsuits over stunts, and even a donkey escaping backstage, Monty kept the energy positive. He slipped losing contestants small cash gifts and made sure everyone walked away feeling appreciated. His style led to the famous Monty Hall problem, a probability puzzle that stirred debates in classrooms and newspapers for decades. He continued reviving the show through the 1980s and 1990s, mentoring his children and bringing them into production roles. His marriage survived painful rumors, and the family remained close through creative differences and personal struggles. Beyond television, Monty devoted enormous time to charity. He founded organizations, raised hundreds of millions of dollars, funded sports programs in Israel that united children across cultural divides, and quietly paid taxes for contestants who had won prizes they couldn't otherwise afford. He hosted countless charity galas, often using props from his show to turn fundraising into joyful experiences. Audits later revealed that he personally covered significant portions of the costs during lean years without ever seeking recognition. Monty's final decades were spent focusing on family and storytelling. He appeared on the revived version of the show with Wayne Brady, offering a dignified handoff to the next generation. His health declined, but he continued sharing insights and clearing up myths about his career.